Oh, hi everyone, I'm Lumi, and it seems you caught me in the middle of making a leak. Hopefully with this, I can gain as much attention as possible to fill the hole that my parents left behind. Alright, let me just make the finishing touches. Upload this to 4chan. And there we go! Alright, well that didn't work, so how about we try actually figuring out what Nintendo's going to be doing in 2020. As 2019 came to a close, all of us Nintendo fans waited with bated breath for the next Nintendo Direct. We wondered what Papa Nintendo would bring back from the grocery store, drooling at the thought of information about our favorite games. And we waited. And we waited. And waited. And all of a sudden, now it's been the longest amount of time we've had since Nintendo Direct, since Nintendo Directs were ever a thing. All we know about this year is the remake of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and Animal Crossing New Horizons, each coming out in March. Past that, we know that Xenoblade Definitive Edition and Bayonetta 3 will be coming eventually, most likely this fall or winter. But as I wrote this video, Xenoblade Definitive was just rated by the ESRB, meaning that the game is basically complete, so apparently it will be released in like 2 to 3 months here. But other than those two titles, we know nothing about any sort of exclusives, and that really scares me. If we look back on the previous few years, you'll likely see where I'm coming from. In 2019, the first half was rather barren, as Nintendo loves pouring all of their games into the second half of the year. The first halves of the years are generally when we get all of our reveals for the titles later, but not all of it was happy news this time. We got the unfortunate news of the cancellation of Metroid Prime 4, causing the tears of fans everywhere. And then, after another drought in news, as the last Direct was in late 2018, we finally got another Direct on February 13th. This is incredibly strong, revealing not only Super Mario Maker 2, which is a definite system seller, but also Link's Awakening Remake. With the previously revealed Luigi's Mansion 3, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Astral Chain, as well as Pokemon Sword and Shield, the latter half was shaping up to be incredible. However, the only real Nintendo titles we got in that first half of 2019 were Yoshi's Crafted World and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Later that same year, we were also shown Daemon X Machina, Cadence of Hyrule, and Ring Fit Adventure. As to how all that relates to this year, it's because of such a strong lineup in the latter half of last year that I think we'll be going through another drought here. It's entirely possible, most likely guaranteed, that we won't have many more titles for this first half, being possibly worse than even last year. But that's only for this first half. We already knew all that due to the lack of titles in the September Direct. A lot of that Direct was much more focused on third-party offerings, and Smash basically carrying the entire conference. And now that Byleth's been released, we have no idea what Sakurai has in store for us either. We pound at the gates of Nintendo headquarters, asking what they have for us this year, begging for them to feed us, but I'm predicting that this will be like the French Revolution in that food is scarce, but there will be cake. Hopefully it doesn't result in the community beheading Doug Bowser. A big reason as to why I think we won't have too many releases is due to Nintendo's resources and IPs just being completely exhausted. Like, on the Switch we've had a new Mario, Zelda, actually make that 2 Zeldas, Splatoon, Mario Maker, 2 Pokemon games, or 4 maybe, Fire Emblem, Kirby, Luigi's Mansion, Smash Bros., Yoshi, Xenoblade, Mario Tennis, Mario and Sonic, and will soon be Animal Crossing, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and Bayonetta. For ports, we've had Mario U Deluxe, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad, Mario Kart 8, Hyrule Warriors, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE, and Pokemon Tournament, all within the span of 3 years. Like, think about how crazy it is that we've gotten representation from all of these franchises so far. But since all of these games were released, the current studios behind those games don't have anything else to show. Simply put, it'll be another, 3+ years at least before we get any more representation from these franchises. But there is hope. If any of the previous departments working on these games are going to release anything, it would be the ones who released games in 2017. 3 years is a good amount of development time for us to start seeing some trailers at least. Whether they actually come out this year, though, is up in the air. Zelda is not coming out this year. That's just a fact. We've only got the trailer for an in development at last E3, and I would think the standard 4 to 5 year development cycle for Zelda games will apply here as well, even though they're using the same engine. Although there was only 2 years between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the hardware is very different from back then, and assets and time have to be scaled accordingly to come up with much larger and more visually impressive games. However, that's Zelda. I want to see what our favorite Red Plumber Not Plumber has in store for us. Mario Odyssey released late 2017, and I would argue that 3D Mario game certainly doesn't need as much development time as Zelda does. The worlds are completely contained, small, and crammed with collectibles, while a Zelda game requires a lot more writing and world building due to a much larger scale. In addition, Nintendo could very well be using the same engine as Mario Odyssey, as they most likely would, judging by how many new Super Mario Bros. Games there are, as well as the existence of Mario Galaxy 2 and Mario 3D World. The timely asset reusing sequel is a favorite for Mario games, and I certainly wouldn't be surprised if we had a reveal for the next Odyssey title in our completely guaranteed March Direct. I hope. Anyway, Mario. Definitely gonna get that in fall or winter this year. But Mario isn't all we have, folks, for I believe we still have a lot more left in store. We may have had all of Nintendo's main franchises given to us already, but that means that Nintendo has turned towards some more niche franchises. Two of them stand out to me that I think are all but guaranteed this year. A new 2D Metroid game made by Mercury Steam, and Pikmin 4. Now, let me explain my reasoning here because I know I sound crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm probably crazy. Mercury Steam hasn't revealed any games since Samus Returns and Space Lords in 2017. They've been completely quiet and under the radar. I have seen no articles or news about them since Samus Returns released. And that makes me really excited. Considering how good the reception of Samus Returns was, as well as its pretty modest sales numbers, I think Nintendo would be more than willing for them to take the reins on another Metroid game. There are two possibilities I see. They could be making the Metroid Fusion remake that they originally proposed to Nintendo back before the development of Samus Returns, or they could be making something completely new. You probably know what I'm hoping for here. Due to the sheer amount of silence, I'm taking this as a really good sign. They're keeping silent and making sure that no information leaks out, since the new 2D Metroid game would be sure to make a splash, and would be really exciting since the last original 2D Metroid game was Fusion back in 2004 or whenever it was released. Moving on to Pikmin 4, we've known for many years that it was coming, but other than continuous confirmation from Miyamoto, we have heard no other news. Some think the project was suspended or cancelled, but I like to think it's possible that it's probably been reworked a bunch from the ground up, before anything was even coded. But that kind of worries me. Who knows how many times that could have been restarted? That's why I'm thinking that instead of Pikmin 4 in 2020, we'll be getting Pikmin 4 in 2021, and in its place, a port of Pikmin 3 on the Switch. I know I just said Pikmin 4 2020, but I'm gonna double back on that and say Pikmin 4 2021, Pikmin 3 2020. It would be a good way of drumming up interest as well as introducing all the new Switch owners into the Pikmin series. However, there's not really much else to say about Pikmin. Those two series are the only ones I'm really confident about having a presence in 2020, so let's move on to the more speculative side of things. Reaching further into Nintendo's brown paper bag of IPs, we have F-Zero, Mario & Luigi, Paper Mario, and Star Fox. Now, F-Zero? To be honest, now that we're in the new age of Nintendo with people like Shinya Takahashi and Yoshiaki Koizumi at the helm, I'm not so sure that we won't be getting F-Zero anytime soon. It was mainly due to Miyamoto and Iwata that F-Zero was determined to be shelved as a series, as the developer never really went anywhere and they couldn't come up with any new ideas. But now that we have new captains, it's entirely possible that they could pull it back off the shelf. It's been many years since F-Zero GX, and I think it's time to give it another shot. Some might think that it would be kind of redundant to release F-Zero on the Switch when Mario Kart is already a thing, and I couldn't disagree more with you. With Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, there's not much room that Mario Kart 9 could go. We've already got the best title in the series already, and it's essentially the perfect kart game. That's why we need to turn towards the other end of the racing spectrum, with pure, competitive speed. Nintendo has the casual racing crowd in the palm of their hand, but this is a real opportunity to reckon the Forza need for speed fans. If they made an F-Zero title that could emphasize competitive racing, they could really have something on their hands. Now, for Mario & Luigi, M&L is certainly one of the more unlikely candidates, as Alpha Dream, the studio behind the Mario & Luigi series, declared bankruptcy due to the poor sales of the Superstar Saga remake, Bowser's Inside Story remake, and especially Paper Jam. Paper Jam was a horribly rushed and uninspired game, truly putting the modern Paper Mario philosophy into their games. This, of course, sold poorly due to the bad reviews and lackluster trailers. It wasn't advertised nearly as well as Dream Team, and Alpha Dream knew it wouldn't live up to its potential. That's why they leaned on a remake to make back some steady sales. However, this would further lead to their downfall as Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions released on the 3DS in October of 2017. Do you notice the release month and year? Remember any other, plumber titles that came out right then? Yeah, a Mario & Luigi game releasing on a dying system as the Switch really started kicking gear with the release of Mario Odyssey was guaranteed to cannibalize sales. But they didn't realize this. Instead, they doubled down with the release of Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey in 2019, a whole 2 years later. This was basically the last first-party released on the 3DS, a whole 2 years into the Switch's lifespan. In addition, at the same time, Nintendo also released new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe and a bunch of cool third-party releases like Tales of Vesperia. Again, it was no wonder it didn't sell. I honestly don't see Mario & Luigi coming back anytime soon, as I think it's more likely that instead of developing new Mario & Luigi titles, Nintendo would rather combine the aspects of Mario & Luigi games with, wait for it, Paper Mario. Paper Mario is completely developed by one of Nintendo's departments, and as such shouldn't have any issues with being released. With the rather poor sales and reviews of Sticker Star and Color Splash, Nintendo might be a little hesitant to release a new Paper Mario game. But with the death of the Mario & Luigi series, it might give Nintendo that little kick in the pants they need with the Paper Mario series, as Nintendo has stated on occasion that Mario & Luigi would be their main RPG series going forward, while Paper Mario would be its own thing. And now that Mario & Luigi is gone, it seems like a good decision would be to publish their own new Mario RPG series by blending Paper Mario and Mario & Luigi elements to make a new RPG Paper Mario game, just like fans wanted this entire time. Especially with people like Arlo campaigning on Twitter with the Remaster 1000 Year Door hashtag making a splash in worldwide trending, I think Nintendo was able to get the message that Paper Mario isn't a dead series that no one wants, but rather just a series that needs reworking. I believe that a potentially new RPG Paper Mario game is on the horizon due to the grand sacrifice of Alpha Dream and the Mario & Luigi series. 07, my friend. 07. Star Fox is in a bit of a more sketchy situation, unfortunately, due to the performances of Star Fox 64 3D and Star Fox Zero. Zero had many different issues preventing it from reaching its true potential and had poor sales because of it. Star Fox 64 only released modest sales figures for a Nintendo title, and neither of these entries are really system sellers, let's be honest. The Star Fox series never really performed well, especially in Japan, and the fan outcry just isn't there compared to something like Paper Mario or Mario & Luigi. The demand just kind of died. If we're gonna get a Star Fox game in the future, it probably won't be anytime soon. However, I can't guarantee it's not possible at all, depending on what Nintendo decides, or decided, to do with the franchise. Who knows, they could just try and outsource the franchise to another studio, like what they do with Metroid, or just try a complete revamp of the formula and advertise the hell out of it. But right now, it wouldn't be a good business move. If they're going to bring Star Fox back, it would be a few years from now when the fan demand starts to heat up due to the real lack of entries. Demand and sales go hand in hand after all. Now, you may have noticed that I did leave out a few franchises. That was on purpose. These are the ones that I just don't see coming at all. Unfortunately, Kid Icarus is one of them. I love the Kid Icarus franchise to death, but with Sakurai so focused on the second Fires Pass for Smash, I think Nintendo would be too afraid to even try touching the series. And while there is certainly a dedicated fanbase who continues making Kid Icarus memes to this day, I think Nintendo's a lot more scared of potentially screwing it up without someone as capable as Sakurai at the helm. If not, they would have tried pouring over Uprising already. The market is there, but at this point, they don't want to poke the bear that is Sakurai. Sakurai doesn't want to mess around with Kid Icarus, and Nintendo doesn't want to mess with Sakurai, as damaging Sakurai means potentially damaging Smash, one of the greatest system sellers they have. It's just way too risky. Ice Climbers is something I never really understood. You'll occasionally find the rumor of a new Ice Climbers game due to their advertisement in Smash, and free sales due to that, but from a game developer standpoint, there isn't anything to be had. The original NES game doesn't have anywhere to go from. After all, making an entire game in which you scale a mountain isn't really appealing. Unless you're Celeste. But Nintendo hates stories, so I don't really see them doing that with Nana and Pogo. Although this is not a niche franchise in the slightest, Splatoon 2 did release in 2017 and is worth mentioning. However, I do not think that we will be getting a new game this year. Octo Expansion released in 2018 as a major single-player experience that could be considered an entire game's campaign on its own if it was released in Splatoon 3, and as far as a new game goes, Splatoon 3 is rather limited in options. More weapon types, new modes, and new story have to be crafted, but the jump from Splatoon 1 to 2 was so good in terms of adding more weapons and modes that I'm having a difficult time coming up with any new changes that they could potentially make as of this moment. Anyway, to summarize everything, I think that the best case scenario for this year is the year of the niche franchise. We'd be getting a new 3D Mario, a new RPG Paper Mario game, a new 2D Metroid game, a Pikmin 3 port, and F-Zero. Add all of those to PMD, Bayo 3, Xenoblade Definitive, Smash DLC, and Pokemon DLC, and I think we'll have a decent lineup for this year. However, what I actually think will happen is that we will get the 3D Mario game, Metroid 5, and Pikmin 3, making the most likely first-party lineup being only 6 games this year, excluding the DLC. But, overall, none of us have an idea what day Nintendo has in store for us. Who knows, I could be completely wrong and Nintendo will just release nothing and promote third parties this year. That is the absolute worst case scenario and is seeming rather more plausible as the weeks go on with a complete lack of information. It's been 6 months now! 6 months! Alright, now that I finally figured out something plausible, I'm gonna go and try and make another leak. If I don't get this done soon, someone else might have something that's actually credible. Golf for the NES is getting a remaster? Holy fuck!